Ready for it? Well, hello. Well, hello to all and sundry. Welcome back to Coffee Break with JN. Well, hello. Hashtag well, hello. Like I said last night on Pencil to Pencil, well, hello has caught fire. When you see a player in the streets, you say, well, hello. What up? What up, Bill? How are you? Hello. What up, Matt? How are you? When Matt's around, Squeeze is not too far behind. Hello, JRD, aka number one, aka Riker. How are you, sir? Welcome everybody to Coffee Break. Well, hello. What up, El Jamal? How are you, sir? I was talking to a mutual acquaintance today. Or was it yesterday? And El Jamal, your name came up, and very nice things were said. They said that Jamal Walton's a class act. I could not be any more in agreement. That is very true. Ross, what's up, bro? How are you? JRD is set. He's got his 30-ounce mug of coffee. That might make you a coffee hound. I have like this, this is gonna bother me. There's like a little gimmick on my sweater. How you guys doing? Where are we at today? Let's have a chat. I've got some harsh light going on. I'm a thug. I love it. That reminds me of our buddy Jim Lujan. You know Jim Lujan. Jim Lujan is a fantastic animator who I happen to be drinking out of his Mind of Lars Lazarus mug tonight. Look at that for brand recognition. And there's Lars on the front. I feel a disturbance. Beware the black diamond. And if you go to Jim Lujan's YouTube channel, I think it's YouTube blah 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 Jim Lujan. One of his very early cartoons was Mama, I'm a Thug. Mama, I'm a Thug. It's one of my favorites. And what I love is that Jim does all the voices. It's very fun. As I've said in the past, that if you were paying attention, I've done a couple voices for some of his cartoons. I think I was Beelzebub, the record mogul, and the counterclockwise cartoon, and I was Rico in the Lars Lazarus one that just finished up. If you go to Jim's site, I think episode 13 is up there, so you can see the conclusion of the Mind of Lars Lazarus. That's right, that's Rico. You're an old actor at the poker game. Yeah, I was in 2 episodes, 3 if you count the last one. It was fun, man. And what I really respect about Yo, July, what up, bro? He says, I got this one. Well, I got Gucci versus Jeezy on this. Oh man, I know, man. I can't live up to a versus battle between those guys. Yo, respect. Sip of coffee for July. Yo, Julian, before you kick out, bless him with your info in the chat. So if you're smart, and I know you are because you're a caffeine, you need to be checking out what Julian's doing on his Patreon and also on the socials. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for voice actors. I am not a voice actor. I'm probably making the same voice when I do all of my things. And there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of craft. I love that in this kind of point in time, people put a lot of sauce on voice actors now when they get their credit. Like, as everybody knows, I'm a video game mark, and the guy David Hayter, who's the voice of Solid Snake. He gets love. Like back when, remember in the before times when people went to comic book conventions, people would line up to just get him to sign something. Or what's another thing? Is I've been at a couple of like video game conventions where they have voice actors from video games, like in the same space like Lonely Virgil would be at a comic book convention. They're like up against the wall and they'll sign like glossies, or they'll say at the video game thing, if you bring up a copy of your game, they'll sign the thing for you, they'll sign the game. And they also do like voicey things. Like I know that some of them charge if you say, I don't know exactly how you say it, but say you come up and you've got your phone and you're like, can you leave my voice message and say, hey, this is Solid Snake, you've reached the codec of Jonah, and I think you have to pay him like $20 or something like that. And there's probably more than that. And I have a really cool thing. I don't I don't talk about a bunch of video game stuff, but I do have I don't have a lot of signed things. I have a lot of signed comics. I don't have a lot of memorabilia of things. So maybe we can talk about things that you have signed, and not necessarily like somebody signed your comic book, but like say you have, those guys that go to the convention and they have the Captain America shield and they've got every artist or writer who ever did a Captain America thing have signed a shield, or Thor's hammer with all of the artists sign it. I want to know about if you guys have anything like that. Yeah, what up, Adam? How are you? Read Punk Taco. So when we were at the Philadelphia Comic Con for kids, the organizers were nice enough to hook me up with the voice actors. Almost all the voice actors who did the voices for Red Dead Redemption 2 were there. And I got a poster and they signed it all, and it was really cool. So I don't have a lot of stuff like that. Bill says the guy who plays Mario is a cool dude. What's his name? Charles Martinet, I think. Yeah, he's at all of those video game conventions. And he'll get up and smile and take a picture and do it to me, Mario. And, they'll do the jumping pose or whatever. He loves it. And I think, you have to, I want to assume you need to at least enjoy what you're doing to go to those things. But the voice actors, they get a nice piece of scratch these days. I'm glad they're getting their credit. And I was going somewhere else with the voice acting thing. Don't let me get too far off of that. Bill says the voice cast of Red Dead Redemption 2 did the con circuit for a little bit. Fun bunch of folks. Yeah, I didn't hang out with them or anything like that, but they were cool enough to sign my thing, sign my poster, and not make me pay for it. Bros says, I got supposed to sign my Dunkin' iced coffee when he came through too many games. That's funny. You just like found something in your hand and got him to sign it. That's great. But JRD says, I don't intend to get autographs like that, but I did get Walt and Weezy to sign a Star Wars comic that was important to me as a child. Yeah, and I think especially if you're, and this is scary territory, but if you're like a pro, it's kind of weird to ask people to sign your stuff. It's kind of like, come on, man, what? So you got to do those things very sparingly. But sometimes, like if I'm at a thing, and I keep talking about like we're going to comic book convention, but I might be at a thing and somebody will give me something, which is always very nice, and I'll say something like, "Can you sign it?" And one of the reasons that I do that is because I like that part of it. I like the personalization of things, and also I think when you personalize things, I think it makes people think that you're not going to try to sell it. And I don't think I've ever sold, I don't like flip stuff, but I know you can see a flipper out at those shows, like the guy who shows up at somebody's table with like 15 copies of the same book. Jamal says the closest I have to a signed item is a Spider-Man encyclopedia book that I'm trying to get anyone that worked on Spider-Man to sign. Yeah, Stan Lee was the first. Nice. That's a nice catch. Matt says I have a DVD of Predator signed by Carl Weathers. Dylan, you son of a bitch. He came by the agency. That's what's up. What was that line from Arrested Development? It's like, throw in a potato, you got yourself a stew. Adam says, I have a piece of scrap paper that's signed by Tribe called Quest. That's what's up, from like 1990 before they became famous. I was just listening to some Tribe last night. Last night was a good Tribe night. I put on Space Program, and then that made me really weepy because the video is really great. And it's like 9 minutes long. And then there's like a nice tribute to Phife Dawg at the end. And I was just like, oh, man. Sip of coffee for Phife Dawg. That's what's up, Adam. I know, Adam. I know you're a hip hopper, so that's really cool. JRD says, I'm not a pro, but I did get that Star Wars comic signed, and I didn't wet myself. I hope not. While standing there talking to them, a plus. Bill says, speaking of Star Wars comics, don't ever ask Chaykin to sign your Star Wars books. He will use unfathomable language. That's great. Oh, man, I started something. Adam says, I have a bunch of comics I forgot I got signed because back in the day, artists and writers would sign the inside of the book. Yeah, I remember that. They would sign like the inside indicia part, right? I have John Byrne, Stan Lee, and others, and I will occasionally come across them, and the memories will flood back. That's really cool. Well, before this starts turning into comic book stuff, I was thinking about like really like specific items. Yeah, Bros, you got it. Working at cons and events at Game Junkie, I've seen people ask the angry video game nerd, just so people know what the acronym is, to sign anything and everything. Like a dude rolled up with a wagon full, and another dude brought in one of those $3,000 fiberglass fox statues to sign. There's something weird about fandom. Yeah, really wish I could have met him. You know what? It's funny. I don't know any hip hop dudes. I guess that's not super true. Like, but I'm not really I'm in that. I love that universe, but I haven't really crossed paths. Like, I've been really fortunate enough to meet some of my heroes and chop it up with some of them, like DMC and Dinko D from Leaders of the New School, and a couple of other people that I'm cool with. But yeah, I mean, it's also true, especially in early hip hop. Like, those guys were like superheroes. Like, DMC was like, he was like Superman back in the day. It's so cool. But one thing I was going to say was, I was thinking about going back into my D&D nerdiness, and how a huge part of modern fans of D&D are there because of YouTube and the kind of like the D&D YouTube people who play episodic D&D on camera. And a lot of those guys, like the Critical Role guys, if you ever heard of them, are a bunch of voice actors who do like really deep character study acting, almost to a point. I would like to see if anybody could maybe challenge how I'm describing this stuff, and doing the whole D&D thing in front of the viewing audience. And a lot of people have gotten into D&D because of those guys, and I think it's also changed the scope of how people play the game, because now you have a lot of people who, if they want to learn how to play D&D, but they're more into like the character and what's the thing, and do I need to wear these elf ears? And it's all kind of like, it's more like a cross of, it's more theatrical than I think the D&D that we used to play in the basement in the 80s were, where we were just kind of like, yo, my dude's got 18/00 strength, and I kick in the door and I kill all the orcs. But now it's more like, my blah 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 was the son, heir apparent to this empire, and we have to. But anyway, what I love about it is that people actually, they're looking for the voice actors. They're looking for like people that can bring some oomph to all of these games, and that even goes into when our good buddy David Gallagher asked me to be in his Marvel Superheroes role-playing game thing for charity last summer. And it was pretty intimidating because there was like probably 7 other people in the group, and they were all like almost like they're either professional like role-playing people or voice actors or a little of both. And I was just trying to hang on to the rails. So anyway, I think it's time for ID. What have you fallen into here tonight, dear viewer? Well, let me get my Johns together. You're watching Coffee Break with JN. What happens here? Well, let me produce the John. You know the John. You see it. You watch me, Jamar. That's me. Drink coffee. Yep. And run my mouth. Yep. When I'm out of coffee, I turn this off. You get it. Nice and easy. Very succinct. Often duplicated. Often imitated, but never duplicated. There's a million people who are doing lives every night or whatever, but I will say with gusto that I've been doing this for a legit almost year and a half straight. Almost every Thursday at 9 o'clock I'm here. It's like, I don't know. I think there's something to be said for keeping a schedule and sustainability. So I'm here for you, dear viewer. I'm your internet safe space. Welcome. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Clean, what's up, Clean? You snuck in. You didn't say hello. How are you? I'm sorry, Clean. I didn't read what you said. I feel kind of weird about fandom stuff. Like, I get it, inspiration, enjoyment, and whatnot, la la la. But like, these peeps are still humans underneath the celebrity skin. That's why I've always adored you, Colleen, because you're very even. Right? It's like, okay, that's cool. That guy was on a thing. Beyond that, it's like, and that's, I think if you don't build that kind of temperament about people, like I've rarely been in a situation when I've been like nervous to meet somebody. Because, kind of what Colleen said, is just like, people are human. And usually those people go through the same stuff you're going through. People get butterflies before they walk on the stage. Even if they've been singing in front of sold out crowds for decades, it's still that, it's go time and you have to like gut check yourself. And it may just be a little easier for some people. But yeah, no, I agree with that. Jim Luhan, what up, brother? Yo, you're hilarious, bro. Jim says, yeah, you played it pretty cool. You first met me. Well, I didn't want to blow my shot. Hold on. Bra says, after my knee surgery, I had a full leg cast. Check. And a bunch of the Union players signed it. Check. Including Mondragon, the Colombian national team goalkeeper. I've still got the front of it somewhere. I bet when they cracked that thing open, it stank. Have you ever broken anything and they take the cast off? It stinks. That's great. Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's anybody that I've been like super nervous to meet. And I'm not trying to act cool. Like, sometimes it takes me a while to like get up the nerve to go talk to somebody. But I'm like an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense. Like, I don't have a problem like walking straight into a room and, making my presence felt. But at the same time, there's a point where if everybody's surrounding me, I feel like I have to perform. So that's weird. Do you remember when you Kit Fistoed my cast? Yes, I do. And just to clean that up, because it sounds kind of weird. Colleen, you broke your leg, right? And I did a pretty janky Kit Fisto on the side. It was like stretched out Kit Fisto on the side of your cast. Donald Faison, you were kind of stoked about that. Did I meet him? Oh yeah, I did beat him. I don't remember when I met him. Yeah, I think I did meet. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. But it might have been DMC, like, because I remember I met him a couple of New York's Comic Cons ago, and it's funny that DMC is such a mainstay at comic book conventions. It's like everybody has a picture with DMC now, but because he's a big comic book head. Also, he has a comic book company, DMC. Daryl Makes Comics. But I was trying to like double dutch my way into this conversation, and he's just like surrounded by people the whole time telling big stories, and everybody's like hanging off of every word, and I'm like, how am I going to go talk to this cat? But I finally made it in. I think I did. I might have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. It was a while ago. But yeah, so why don't we do this? Why don't you, if you want to share, tell me about who's the most, maybe not the most famous, because that's really relative, but like, tell me who you met that really kind of like shook you up, or were you on a bus and you're sitting next to Keanu Reeves or something like that. I love to hear those stories. And while you guys are typing, I'm going to give a shout out to my Patreon. Good looking out. Good looking out. You know who you are. Thank you so much for your Patreon support. Without your support, I can't do what I do, and you make me do it so well. Thank you so much. If you're like, what's going on? Who are these people scrolling across the bottom of the screen? Well, you can be a part of this thing. You can be a part of the Friends of Jamar fan club, also known as my Patreon. Become a patron today. Patreon.com/Jamar Nicholas, where I post lots of behind the scenes videos. I've just figured out I post like almost every day on Patreon. I thought I wasn't going to be one of those guys, but I do. There's lots of videos. There's a lot of videos. We did a thing a couple of weeks ago where, was it last week, where I did a hand check of how many different video projects I have. And it's a lot. It's 8 or close to 8. And you'll see almost all of that stuff. More than half of the things I do video wise, interviews and other things are behind my Patreon wall. So if you're interested in the joy I bring you every week, and you want more of the soft, warm glow of my friendship, come on in, and you can pay me for it. JRD says, yeah, you make me look bad. I post weekly. You know what? I don't know. It's funny with the Patreon stuff. It's that, especially like with my guys, they're pretty quiet, which I've learned to live with. It's just kind of like, okay, I take it as, if you see me pay you every month, that means I'm enjoying what you're doing in some fashion, or I'm just wanting to support you. I don't really need to add to the wrap on your Patreon. So that's cool. But I also was super sensitive about posting too much. But then I realized I had so much stuff. And that's not even a brag. It's just like, yo, I got to post these videos. And like, oh, it ain't hard to tell. This on Thursday. And then we did this. And oh, Ashy stream. And then, oh, here's a picture of my dog. And here's blah, blah, blah. And it just like keeps churning out. So please don't feel bad. So yeah, okay, let's see some of those famous people meetup stories. I'm trying to think of like any like chance meetups happen with me in my life. Not really. Not like I think it's one of those things where everybody's like, "Oh, remember the best day of my life is when I went to the supermarket and Bruce Willis was there," that kind of stuff. Um, but I think that's something weird about comics. And again, I feel like comic books and comic book creators are one of the most accessible, famous groups of people. And I say this very loosely, that because there's conventions where you can go, you pay your ticket and you can go in, and if you want to stand in front of these people and talk your head off for hours, and they're kind of like a captive audience. And I used to say things like, it's like the allure of musicians is different, because unless you go to the show and they're nice enough to have a merch table and come and sell you a CD or something, it's very rare that you're going to meet them. And it's not like you can go to the music convention and meet Aerosmith and get them to sign your CD. You know what I mean? Sign your ribboned up mic stand. It doesn't work like that. So I think that's one of the things that makes maybe even the allure of things like this, or maybe makes cartoonists seem a little more relatable and human, is that you have easier access to artists, if that makes sense. Bra says probably helps that comic creators are also comic fans, so they remember how it was. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And on Pencil to Pencil, we talk a lot about, like, we had Shannon Eric Denton on last night, who's was a fantastic guest, and we talked a lot about, like, Shannon's done everything in the business, and he's been in, like, behind the scenes on almost every major cartoon that you love. He probably had something to do with it. And we all talked very matter-of-factly about this stuff. And we talked a lot about fandom. Well, I brought that up because that's always a very interesting thing to me. And one of my questions to him about fandom is like, it has to be tough for creatives to be in a space, like, say you go to the comic book convention, right? And usually a lot of people in the business go to the show, like, with a pro badge or something, just to meet up with their buddies. It's almost like a family reunion. You don't see people all year until you go to this thing, and you can maybe go get a drink with somebody, or like one of my favorite things I used to do in New York at New York Comic Con for a long time. We stopped doing it. Well, no shows, is that Mike Norton and I would go and get a hot dog lunch every year. And that was the time I got to catch up with Mike. We would leave the comic book convention and we would go across the street to a dirty water dog stand and get a couple of hot dogs, and we'd argue over who was going to pay for it. And then we go stand on the wall and just talk for like 30 minutes. And that was like one of the best parts of the show for me. But what was also funny is, like, as the years going on, it was harder and harder to get Mike to do the things. And I'm not talking tales out of school, but I was really proud of him. It was one year I went, and I was like, okay, and I was texting, was like, all right, I'll come find you at 11. He was like, oh, I'm at this thing. So he wasn't at his artist alley booth. I think he was in the middle of it could have been like Marvel or some other monolith, where there was like stanchion velvet ropes and people with lanyards, and he was getting interviewed, and there were all these people, like, with cameras and like microphones with like fuzzy tops on them. And I was just grinning in the corner, like, yeah, okay, I'll wait. And some guy came over, was like, can I help you? It's like, I just started laughing. I'm like, you gonna kick me out? It was great. But I had to, I just waited in the corner until he was done, and I thought it was hilarious. But you know what? That's maybe it. Like, maybe in my Kevin Smith era, which was interesting because I got to meet him a couple of times. We never like hung out or anything, but we met, and he told me he liked what I was doing, and you know, chopped it up for a little bit. But I remember just being in that space, and there was just always like security around everybody, and like I was like allowed to be in the zone with these people, and it was a little surreal. I've been running my mouth, so let's see what you guys said. Bill says, so one time I was in the Con Hotel bar in Cincinnati, and John Barrowman just rolled up and asked about my beer. We talked about beer and beer pong for an hour. Surreal, say the least. So are you guys best buds now? I'd have been like, yo, man, hit me up next time you're in town. JRD says, my celebrity meetups were never chance. My job involves some form of celebrity interaction ever so often. Bill says, Lesser Bit was meeting Matt Dillon at a record shop in New Jersey. This was right after There's Something About Mary. That's so funny. Suze, you take the cake. You met everybody. Suze says, met Little Richard, Joan Rivers, Charo, Tony Hawk, Jerome Bettis, The Bus, Tiki Barber, etc. for work with the Geico commercials, but totally tongue-tied with Jeff Lemire at the Ringo Awards. It's funny how that works, right? Yo, Ray Felix, what's up, bruh? How long you been here, man? Good to see you. Keep up the good work. Bill says, Mike Norton is awesome. Yes, he is. I wish more folks were like him and Tim Seeley. Yes, I agree. And if you missed it, we had a great interview with Mike on Pencil to Pencil. You can go back through the archives. And it's always great to catch up with him. I'm such a fan of his. He's a good friend. And I've said this on record before. Mike Norton is one of a very small group of people who have looked out for me in my career. And what I mean by that is kind of like, when it's salad days, I'd get an email and go like, hey, look, I'm trying to do my Mike Norton voice. Yeah, so I can't do this thing. I gave him your name. So maybe they'll call you or something. Hey, Mike, thanks so much, man. This is great. And I've gotten a couple of gigs that way. And there's not a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that say they would do that, but they're not really going to do that. But, Mike's always looked out. He's a brother. Sip of coffee for Mike Norton. Colleen says, I've met some musicians. My dad won a radio thing to see Mumford & Sons at a radio station. I don't know why I'm laughing at Mumford & Sons. They're just, those guys are ridiculous to me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to any Mumford & Sons fans. I really enjoyed getting to listen to the songs at the radio station, but we got herded through this hallway, set up through a chute. 12 people, rapid fire, shake the band members' hands, have a 5-second exchange, then smile for a camera and exit the building to the right. Oh, wow, they cattle shooted you. Weird and awkward. There's no depth or meaning behind that kind of encounter. And you know what? That's interesting, because that reminds me of the things they do at comic book conventions where you pay all this money and they shoot you through some curtains, and then you get to stand next to, I would say Stan Lee, but he's gone now, who's just kind of like, and you get to like lean in, and then they shoot you out the other side. And I just wonder, does that feel good does that feel, I've never done that. And I don't know. That's just a weird thing. I do remember, this is a couple of years ago, I forget which show it was, but they had pulled off this coup and had, I think, all of the Star Trek captains. Some of you guys might remember this show. It might have been in New York, or I don't know. All the Star Trek captains were in the same place at the same time, and they had a VIP panel, and then there was a photo op thing, and I think the VIP passes for that sold out immediately. And I think it might have been like $1,000 straight off the top, like bam. It was just a band, like bam. And that thing sold out immediately. And people were like, I came to the convention to see the captains. And that's what they were there for. Did you like my Mike Norton? Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Ray Felix says, I met Spike Lee at a phone booth. Please tell this story. That's so funny. Matt says, got a crushing bear hug and deafening, how you doing? From Ken Forey, coming back late at night to the hotel during our horror convention. Sue said, sweet talked him earlier about some voiceover work. That's what's up. JRD says, I can echo Sue's. Can't talk to the Simonsons, but worked with Bonnie Raitt, Michael O'Keefe, Mike Farrell. Toad the Wit Sprocket members. That's so funny. Everybody's got a soft spot for somebody. Bill says, Mike literally has a tattoo, D's not words on him. That man means what he says. Yeah, Delta Force. No, that's not Mega Force or whatever the name of that cheesy movie is. I remember when he got that. That's so funny. He's a good dude, man. Well, there's so many in here. Oh, the Captain Sings was at Wizard World, right? Yeah, I thought so. I just didn't want to say it. Colleen says, no, it doesn't feel good. I'd rather listen to a really great interview or panel discussion than pay through the nose for a photo. Yeah. I'm skipping across. Oh, Ray, you went to the Captain's thing? You dropped 1,000 on that? Jared D says, I did meet Kiss, which was interesting. As Kulik and Carr were chill, but Stanley and Simmons were more in character, which made it more ridiculous. Well, I guess it's kind of like, do you break the magic if you're just being a normal dude, or you got to like spit blood and do the tongue thing? This is Ray Felix says this is about meeting Spike Lee at the phone booth. True story. I was asking, are you going to be done with that soon? And he turned around, waiting on hold and talked for over 20 minutes. Yo, you didn't rip about the phone booth like, son. That's great. And you're dating yourself because you said phone booth. Oh my God, there's so many. All right, here's another one. JRD said, our honeymoon was a meet and greet for Kenneth Branagh's reception when he won the Shakespeare Prize. Met Dame Judi Dench, KB, Patrick Doyle, Ken Byers, basically half the Hamlet cast. Have I done my Judi Dench impression, which is really bad? My favorite thing, I'm not at anywhere near the caliber of JRD with his British people and all that stuff he likes. But when Judi Dench was M, right, in the new 007 movies, and they're trying to get over Mads Mikkelsen's character and trying to like get him like, he's the evil bad guy. And they do this close up on Judi Dench's face, and she hisses his name, Le Chiffre. And it was like spit all over the camera. I love it. Le Chiffre. Love it. Ray, sorry, bro. He said, no, I had 2 tables and made very little dough. That sounds like Wizard World Philly to me. Speaking of that, let's do an ID. You're watching Coffee Break with JN. I'm JN. Philly Donahue. That's one of my favorite ones. Are you ready for this? Jerry Kraft did this one the other night. Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson. That's so Philly. I love it. Also, in the Philadelphia mode, the Kevin Bacon of comics. If you didn't know, Kevin Bacon's from Philly. Hello. You're watching Coffee Break with JN with me, where I get to drink coffee and run my mouth with you, the caffeines. And after I'm out of coffee, this video's over. Go home. Bros talking about soccer stuff. I need to get up on my soccer stuff. I don't really know who you're talking about, but I'll just nod and smile. So last week we were talking a lot about coffee mugs. And I feel like this is going to be the last time we talk about coffee mugs, and then I'm just going to produce them. And there's a couple of you guys I haven't seen in a while. I hope that you're still part of the caffeine army. Caffeines? What's he talking about? You know who you are. Oh, Susan's yelling at her screen right now. The caffeines. Friends and regulars, not decaf. Of Coffee Break with JN. You guys are my diehards. You're my ride or dies. You're my day ones who have stuck this out with me, and you faithfully show up here every Thursday, 9 p.m. EST to kick it with me. Thank you so much. for your love and support. We're going to make some coffee mugs, but you got to pay for them. I'm not giving them to you. Sorry, bruh. And my good buddy Jenkins is going to help me make some mugs, so I'm very excited. Once I figure out what they look like and how much they'll cost, we'll set something up so we can maybe we'll raise our mugs and toast all together. That'd be cool. Jim Lujan, speaking of mugs, that's a snazzy mug you got there, fella. What up there, friendo? That's right. If you were here on time, you'd have heard me plug Lars Lazarus. Hey, Jim, can you put a link in for the episode 13 so people can check it out? Woo, woo. We need a hand signal, maybe something like this, like holding that coffee, yo. Caffeine's in the house. Blah blah blah. Wow, you guys are still talking about that. Yeah, sip of coffee for the mugs. I love it. I do love Johnny Carson. I gotta type that one up just so you guys know what I'm talking about. That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Oh yeah, that's so good. Maybe it's just one end. Does that feel better? I like it. All right, I'll change it. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. It didn't catch. Oh yeah, there it is. I saved it. There you go. That's hilarious. That's great stuff. It's exciting stuff. Yeah, I think Philly Donahue and Johnny Carson, they're like tied. Colleen says that might need to make it on the mug, Johnny Carson. That's right, because I can make or break careers. So you mind your P's and Q's, Playboy. Jim just put a link to his last Mind of Lars Lazarus episode in the chat. Go check it out. It doesn't do me any good to put this on the screen because you can't click on it. So go to the chat and check that out. I had a lot of great fun working with Jim. Anytime Jim rings the bell, I show up with a Pavlovian reflex to do funny voices for him. And all I said is all I care about is making Jim laugh. So good. Jim, what do you do with all the B-roll that you get from like takes that you don't use? JRD says, but can you do the pencil flip off the coffee mug? I'm going to work on it, and then we'll do it next week. See, but here you go. It doesn't work on pencil to pencil because there's no like second on pencil to pencil. We're all in the same sphere. I think, Bill, you should ask Mike if he's Ed McManley and see what happens. What they say in Philly? F around, see what happens. That's our new logo. That's our new battle cry. That was hilarious. So okay, so we talked about coffee mugs. We talked about meeting your heroes. How about this? Has anybody ever met somebody and they totally turned them off? Because there's always a thing where they say, the worst thing you can do is meet your heroes. Has anybody met somebody they really looked up to and they got their heart broken by them? Oh yeah, Mike would definitely be offended by that. That's why I said to Bill, you go ask him that and see what happens. I think that happens a lot in comics. Is people, everybody likes to say, so-and-so is the nicest person in comics. Oh my gosh, they'll never meet a nicer person in comics. but it doesn't always work, right? Because I'm sure it doesn't have to be comics; it could be anything. Ray Felix said, I said hi to William Defoe in the street, and he looked at me in terror. Did he legit run away? That might be his gimmick, right? It's just like, yo. But I also think it's funny when people freeze and they go, you're who you say you are. You're who it is on your driver's license. Like, yeah, I know who I am. Ray said, and then Ethan Hawke. I think like there's two of them. Ethan Hawke's year later in front of the Chelsea. That's funny. Hey, Caitlin, how are you? Have you been hiding here? You got to say hello when you come in. You have to introduce yourself. Not looked up to, but as a small child, I got hyped up by my mom and grandma to meet Sally Starr. It's your gal, Sal. That's some regional stuff right there, Sally Starr. And she was terribly boring. Well, she probably doesn't like kids. Was that it? I could see something like that happening. Matt says, I had the opposite happen. I was told that Lou Ferrigno was a kind of a jackass. I've heard that. Like, he's got that thing. So when he was on King of Queens, I thought they were kind of playing into that whole stereotype about Lou. Then I met him, and he was really friendly. That's interesting. JRD says, not a hero, but I'll say one of the cast from Iron Fist did not impress me with their entitled attitude during a signing at a show. I guess the glib reaction would be to say, but hey, it's Iron Fist. But, you know, I'm not going to knock on those shows. People need to eat. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of, well, I do have a story, but that's for another time. Bill O'Donnell, we're spilling tea. So Ed Norton is not a nice dude. Interesting. He is insanely tall and definitely drinks his own Kool-Aid. He's the anti-Mike Norton. They have the same last name. I don't know. There might be something there. Oh, Ferrigno got that rep because of his deafness. Yeah, I could see that. Like, people like misinterpreting him in social situations because of his hearing, right? It's interesting. So, like, you know what? I don't know. I think here's another thing. I think we kind of expect too much from people, right? I think as you being a public figure, whoever you are, the royal you, should be thinking about like how you come off in public. And I think, when you're like a top tier AAA plus celebrity, I'm sure that strips away your personal life, or strips away your, the idea that you could go dip in the 7-Eleven with some SpongeBob pajamas on and get, get a hot dog off the roller. You can't do that when you're a super famous person. And that's, I guess that's a curse of the blessing. But I always say things like, as far as fandom, that you should try to take it easy on people. Especially, I just talk about comic book conventions because that's what I know, is that a lot of people are either tired or hungry, or have a headache, or these lights are killing me, or I was supposed to go be at this thing and the people never came and got me. Now I'm late. And now I got to get out of here, but I can't because people keep showing up for me to sign the thing. And whatever you say to those people is going to stick, and they're going to remember that. So you're an asshole because you're like, look, man, I got to do this thing. Can you just? I'm done for the day. And they're going to be like, well, sorry to bother you, Mr. Famous Person. So it's tough, right? So it's not easy, I guess. Where I would say for the fandom is to kind of give people a break, or like cut people some slack. Like, if you've been standing online for an hour and a half to see this person and they get to you and they're just like, here, like, is that enough to like go in and dunk on them on Twitter? I don't know. You tell me. I think there should just be a little bit of balance. And if you're that person who's stuck behind the thing, I also feel like you should be prepared or have, your people or something. Just go, hey, listen, or just, be human and say, look, I'm sorry. I know you guys have been waiting. Can we just shut this down? I just need to get some aspirin. I'm sorry, I'll be back. And I'm sure there'll be some sighing, stomping people in the line, but at least, you did your best you could. Ray says, Lou Ferrigno refused to take a pic with my friend after he spent $200 at his table. $200! I bet he had that giant Incredible Hulk poster, didn't he? He looked at his wife and said, I'll take a picture with her. Oh, man. That's horrible. I don't know. JRD says, look at how many folks work with Ed Norton more than once. It's a short list. Wow. Yeah. But see, and I'm not even into movies or anything, but like we talk about these people, it's, it sticks to you. JRD says, I met my hero when I was a child. I just retired NFL player at a members only club. Did you have your jacket? He brought me and my father inside as his guest, spent 30 minutes with me, took photos for the paper, and made sure I stayed for the evening. See? You see what I mean? You'll always remember that. And it doesn't take much. He wouldn't even sign my poster. I'm almost out of coffee, you guys. Where'd the time go? I feel like we just started. Well, how did you get the press plate? I don't understand how you acquire such things. Yeah, man. I always look forward to coffee break. I'm glad that I have you guys hanging out with me and kicking it. It's funny how I have this streaming on a couple of channels, on my personal Facebook wall, on my art Facebook wall, on the Pencil to Pencil Facebook wall, and on the Pencil to Pencil YouTube channel. It's a lot of avenues. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I know this is a lot, maybe less different than I think it is, of what we do on Pencil to Pencil. This is my time with you, my caffeines, where we can just have these conversations. I think this would be a totally different thing if it was just me for an hour with no feedback from you guys, just talking at the camera. I could do it. Don't think I can't do it. But that's not fun, right? It's not the same. The interaction with you guys, getting to know you guys, getting to kick the ball back around the fence, I think is always important. Ray has all these New York stories. I almost hit Dennis Miller with my bike when he crossed against the red light. Hey, serves him right. Steranko stories. Bill says, oh, Steranko. He only takes photos with women, never dudes. Fam. He does give some good stories, but that wig, crazy aviators, turtleneck dickie, and double-breasted suit is just over the top. Sip of coffee for Steranko. Matt says, I was fortunate to meet my two biggest heroes, Sal Buscema and Darwin Cook. Both of them exceeded my expectations. That's great. That's great. Right? It's like, and I just feel like the good energy should really outweigh the bad stuff, but it's easy to focus on the bad. Like, that's just how we're built. Like, 500 people could say you're the best person in the world, but one person says you suck, and you can't let that go. To finish the Dennis Miller thing, Ray says, he screamed, watch where you're going, asshole. And I said, learn how to cross the street, Dennis. I love it. You know it to be true. It is the way. Yeah, man. So what I may do before this week is over, I feel like I guess you can't raise your hands, but who's been checking out Ashy Stream? Did anybody check out Ashy Stream? I feel like I've been doing, I don't have a day for that, but I just kind of do it when the mood hits me. I think I did that on Friday. Was it last Friday? I can't remember. But I enjoy Ashy Stream. For some of you guys who forget that I'm a cartoonist, I have one thing I do where I'm drawing on camera. It's called Ashy Stream, as we check to see my moisturizing levels on my hands while I'm drawing. Are you ashy, JRD, so to speak? But yeah, there's always something to watch with me, and I think it's very weird that I was just talking to one of my old buddies about doing a podcast. We had been, before all of this streaming stuff and the Facebook stuff and the live stuff and the social media stuff, we talked about doing a podcast a long time ago, and we've been kind of kicking this ball around. So I might have a ninth thing I do, but we'll keep it. And I'm not telling. You can't know yet. But I'm thinking about it. But what I was getting at is that I think that all of my content is different enough from the other things to make them interesting. So let me try to go through it. So Ashy Stream is my live drawing stream on Facebook. I don't think I might start putting on the Pencil to Pencil YouTube. I wonder what you guys think about that. So that's that. We've got Coffee Break with JN, where I talk to you, the caffeines. You know who you are. Pencil to Pencil, when you guys know what that is. Thank you for having me, with Jamar Nicholas, is where I have one-on-one interviews with some of my creative buddies. It ain't hard to tell, with Mike Hawthorne, my Q&A that we do, which is Patreon exclusive world premiere every other week. Then I have behind the Patreon wall, I've got Car John. Well, it ain't hard to tell. Car John, Morning Constitutional, and then I'm forgetting something. Oh, the Jamarchive. And then I also do little videos and streaming things and shelfies and all other kind of stuff. When do I sleep? Just like everybody else, bro. I get my 8 hours in. But it's like, what are you doing with your with your waking time? I don't know. I feel like we could all do double the amount of stuff we do if we put our minds to it. But I find this fun. I like kicking it with you. You don't want to watch me cook. I'm a good cook, but I don't know. That's not my lane. So I asked this a while ago. Well, what is your favorite thing? And I'll throw this out there real quick. Out of all these things, I know a lot of not doing cooking videos. But I did see. Well, there's this little Asian lady who does. She's like somebody's grandmother who does these really funny TikToks of her, like. There's like a little like mini version of herself standing inside the skillet, and she's like, yo, put more oil in that pan. They're hilarious, but I don't know the name of this lady. I was going to ask, what is your favorite project that I've been doing as far as videos are concerned? I think I asked that last week. Maybe I won't ask that, but if you feel like answering. But here's something that I'm watching, because I don't talk about what I am into. You need to do a cake baking video. That's defibrillator your lane. I hope that's an autocorrect. I do like baking. I will say that. But yeah, no, we're not doing any kitchen videos. Sorry. that's you trying way too hard, bro. Thanks, Ray Felix. Ray likes this one. You like this over Pencil to Pencil? That's interesting. And I'm going a little bit longer because I started a little late. Which videos? You got to join the Patreon, sis. It's for the cost of a chai latte. You can be a patron of mine. Let me give you the info. Make it easy on you. Right there. Just let it roll, baby. And you might say to yourself, come on, bro, I'm on a budget. It's COVID. What are you talking about? But I'll say this. I feel like our union, this thing that we have built together over the past year and a half. How long have I been doing coffee breaks? I will defy you to tell me that you haven't gotten anything out of this. So this is cathartic. It's holistic. This should be can use your FSA benefits to pay me for. Well, maybe not. You'll get in trouble, but I'm just saying. I think it's worth it if you feel good at the end of the day. So get in on that. JRD says, I love pencil to pencil, but I do prefer this. Interesting. Coffee break with JN is damn near group therapy. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. And Matt and Suze know me well enough as you do to know how heavy a statement that is. That's what's up. Also, what we call also JN, the Black Dusty Roads. Well, I'll lay my hands across the screen, if you will. The heartbeat of America, my really bad Dusty Rhodes impression. Please forgive me for that. But yeah, like that's why I do this. If you've ever met me in person, you know I run my mouth and I try to be engaging. I don't want to say entertaining because that upsets me. Once in a while when people go like, oh my God, I love hanging around you. You're so entertaining, which then turns the dial in my head to make me think that I'm like being a clown. And I don't like that. I like to be human and just kind of kick it with people, and I like to get to know about people and, engage you and see what makes you tick. But I don't like dancing for people. That's not what I do. It's always a good time. Yes. Colleen is agreeing with JRD. Agreed on that. Thursday night group sessions. The doctor is in. Bam. Yes. Coffee break with Jay and his group therapy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the vibe. Yes, Dusty Rhodes is a turtle. If you've never watched a Dusty Rhodes promo, Dusty Rhodes is a famous pro wrestler since passed. Just go into YouTube and type Dusty Rhodes Hard Times promo. It's all you need. It's and yo, what's up, man? We're about to leave. Where you been? Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. JRD says, gotta draw that now. Doctor isn't with Jay yet. Yeah, I'd love that. I'll hang that in the studio. Thank you. Never clowning. Always real and fun. Thank you. Yeah, that like entertaining thing always, I've gotten that a couple of times in different parts of my world bubble that I kind of deal with a lot of different people through my life. And I've had some people go, oh, you know what, Jamar, every time I'm around you, like, it's so cool because you're so entertaining. And I was just like, that. I guess it was a compliment, but I just didn't. It messed me up. But, if I can engage you, that's good. Okay, well, I'll allow it. All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up, you guys. But thank you for that. But, yeah, I guess what I was getting at, I was kind of all over the road with that, is just feeling like what we have here is important. And I get very excited because I talked to some of you guys leading up to Thursday night. We're like, oh, man, I can't wait for coffee break. That makes me feel so good, because it makes me feel that this is something to look forward to. And that, makes me feel like I have a purpose too. Get your shine box. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much. Let's say our goodbyes. I like to say our goodbyes. Let's get our goodbyes in. Thank you as usual. We will see you. Oh, I'm going to take a week off. This Thursday is Thanksgiving or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna take the night off. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we do this on Thursday? We might have to take a poll. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do Thanksgiving coffee break when there's nobody around. But you tell me. Would you watch it if I jumped on Thursday night? Everybody will be asleep by then. There you go. That's good. That's good. That's good usage right there, JRD. Colleen says, good night, JN. Happy Thanksgiving. Please, God, if you're going to, I'll be here. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. Good night, everybody. What up, Asa? Master Asa Incorporated. Nah. Either I'll do it Thursday or I'll just wait till the next time. All right. See, Matt said he's not going to be sure he can make it. That's what's up. Yeah, you know what? And I don't think I'm going to do a watch party because you guys aren't coming to those. So you can just, if you missed it, you just replay it later. Colleen says we can have our respective Turkey Day desserts and coffee. Ooh. I do enjoy a good dessert. All right, you guys. Well, we'll figure it out on our way there. So thank you so much. You guys be safe. Please make good choices. I want to see you on the other end of this. So don't be foolish. All right. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN. I am JN, aka Jamar Nicholas, my government name. Some laughing at myself. Some people call me Johnny Carson, the Black Dusty Rhodes. I like that too, because he's kind of like Tropic Thunder Dusty Rhodes. He's an enigma. The Grand Poobah of indie comics in your internet safe space. Well, hello. What has this been? Well, you have been watching me run my mouth and drink coffee. Now that I can't even do my thing here. Now that I'm out of coffee, this video is over. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.